Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. Thanks for tuning in for Flavoring Fridays. There you go, Jacob Franklin. I thought you'd be very happy that I was able to get that out of the way first. Hello, again, helping out Jacob Franklin as well as we try to do around here. Joson Scheer. Hello, Joson Scheer, coming to us live from Jordan pushed off Wi-Fi zone.
Yes, I'm in my hotel room, but Jordan pushed off. And I guess that's been the arena Wi-Fi for years. Not only that, but I was told, Mike, that when it happened, and since then, they do not sell Jordan brand in the team shop.
I don't blame it. I wouldn't. But again, let me just get this out of the way. Speaking of the brand, welcome to the PHNX Wildcats show. Shout out to OG's Brands, the official sponsor of Flavoring Fridays. Head over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup, including their newest gummies, OG's Naturals, and the Big OGs, and find out where you can purchase. Ben White, big fan of the fruits and the creams. All right, now, let's talk Arizona, Long Beach, our state, and then we're going to get to Dayton. We have got a smorgasbord of things to talk about here. And then we have a guest visitor coming in as well, coming into enemy territory later on. But first, Scheer, this was a game. Arizona was definitely sloppy in the first half, but you didn't really worry too much about it, even though it was getting annoying because they were just missing layups. Generally, teams that are top 10 teams aren't going to keep missing layups.
Yeah, that was a complete example of just a matter of time type of game because they were getting whatever shot they wanted whenever they wanted it. Pella, he's usually pretty good in those situations, missed like 3 layups in a row. The guys were missing layups, and you're like, okay, this isn't going to go on for 40 minutes. And then once it started hitting, that was pretty much it for Long Beach State.
Game over. All right, now we got to give Kylan Boswell a lot of credit here. Scheer has been all over Kylan Boswell. I have been saying be patient. He is only 18. Now, listen, Boswell, though, I got to give him a lot of credit because he kept Arizona in that game in the first half. Arizona was probably going to win that game, but it starts becoming a little bit more precarious if it goes from 4 points to 6 points without him making those 3-pointers. Those 3-point shots were huge. Good job, Bam Bam.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to look at the points and all that. The one thing that I focused on is he took 19 shots, right. And that's good because, like, Pella even said it after the game. He's like, there's been games where we have to beg Kylan to shoot. Like, he's scared to shoot, Pella basically said. And so the fact that he put up 19 shots in a tournament game and he made 8 of them and they were all pretty much good shots, that's a big deal because now, you know, if he can carry that on to Dayton, all of a sudden you're not scouting and saying, look, Boswell's going to get scared. Like, we just have to guard him a little bit and then he's not shooting. All of a sudden in the back of your mind, you're like, well, he just put up 19 shots. That to me is a big deal. 8 assists to 1 turnover. And the turnover was him trying to get cute when they were up 15 or 20 or whatever. Really, really good game from him.
The only thing I'd like to see more of it and shows a little form of aggression, I'd like to see him get a few more free throws. But again, I'm picking nits here. This was an A performance out of Kylan Boswell. And it just goes to show you, too, if Arizona didn't even get a great game out of Caleb Love, obviously, or Pella Larson, I don't even know what Pella was doing in the first half for a good percentage of the game. But when Boswell plays like that, it just gives you such a margin for error. And with Keyshawn Johnson as well.
I like also how the players talked about Boswell after the game. Like, they all said, Caleb Love said it, Pella said it, Umar said it. Like, that's what they want from him. They've been begging for him to do that all year, is shoot the damn ball when you're open. And we saw it, you know, even when they beat Oregon at Oregon, I still remember the play where, remember, he had the wide open 3 and the guy
jumped in the air and
right. Like, that can't happen. Like, shoot the ball. And Pella said something also. He said, like, you know, that at halftime, Tommy actually said they weren't shooting enough. Like, Tommy's offense, you don't pass open shots. Even if they're threes. If they're open, you got to shoot it. And in the second half, they kept shooting. And, you know, we saw what happened. And you mentioned Keyshawn. I thought he was awesome. I mean, his box score isn't going to be like, oh, crap. But him and Umar, I thought that they really changed the game in the second half.
And, you know, Keyshawn, just again, this is why Keyshawn Johnson is here. He didn't want to go to Kentucky because of those games, by the way, John Calapari. But he was great. He was making the 3-point shot, and I don't even care about that. And again, I know I'm a broken record, but if I make a good point, I'm going to keep making it. He just played with energy. He was finishing around the hoop. He was dynamic. Everything you wanted out of him, you got.
Yeah, and now it's, you know, someone has a good point there in the comments. Now that was a one-off. Now you got to make it 2. You got to go 2 in a row, which I think he struggled with sometimes, and he hasn't done that very much this season, but they're going to need him on Saturday.
Is there any, speaking of Tony Padilla, is there any, I was talking about this with Mielbach the other day. Is there anybody that everybody knows who covers Pac-12 athletics knows is a terrible official? And it's just kind of this open running joke that everybody knows. And it's like, oh, Tony Padilla will be back.
Look, I don't like Tony Padilla. I don't think he's a good ref, but there is something that I'm actually going to defend Tony Padilla. He didn't make that call.
No, I know.
It was a different ref that made that call. I don't know who. I don't remember who it was. It was the African-American ref. He was awful, whoever that was. I don't remember, Lamar or something. He was worse than Padilla. But yeah, like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh. So what they usually do is they combine crews and kind of switch things around. There is absolutely a legit chance Padilla is one of the refs for tomorrow's game.
You know what I don't like about Tony Padilla as well, and we'll get back to other things, and Dodd made a good point about this as well. Tony Padilla makes the game about himself.
Yes.
And that I think is the most annoying thing, is that you know a Tony Padilla game when it's officiated, and I would imagine that you're probably going to get that again because Tony Padilla likes Tony Padilla.
But I will say this, in a way, and I think you might agree, a tight game tomorrow would actually help Arizona.
No, I totally agree. We're going to get to that.
If Padilla wants to go ahead and call 40 fouls tomorrow, because Dayton only uses 6 players.
Right. All right.
So,
let's talk about. All right. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Arizona, Dayton. Now, before we get started, I'm back in the A. I am picking Arizona to win. That said, I do not like this matchup, Scheer. I was rooting heavily for Nevada. Here's why I don't like it. It's very simple. Dayton shoots a lot of three-point shots. They play slow, and they've got an All-American. I don't love the matchup. That's all. I would have much preferred to play Nevada. That said, I'm still back in the A.
Yeah, I would have liked to play Nevada as well. They play no zone whatsoever. They're small also. They're coached by Steve Alford. There's many reasons why I would have rather played Nevada. With that being said, it's not like I feel like
just call me out. Call me an idiot.
No, because Arizona could lose and then I'll look stupid. But I think a lot of people are overinflating what happened at Dayton. They needed a 24-4 run just to beat Nevada. Right. Like, they were getting killed in that game. I made the comparison last night, and not this year, just in general. Their style is very Virginia-like. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of stuff. They're going to try to defend, but they're not as good defensively as Virginia, not even close. They're weird. I think Arizona fans are going to be caught off guard. They do not try to offensive rebound.
And they're very small.
They put a shot up and they're back on defense, and they're willing to say, we would rather get set on defense than go and try to crash the glass. So Arizona, if they don't out-rebound Dayton considerably, something went wrong. They're small. But yeah, I mean, you're like, they literally, so the other day, again, when Arizona played Oregon in the Pac-12 tournament, it was the first time all season where Arizona didn't put up 50 shots, right?
Right.
Dayton, I looked last night and I stopped because in their last 6 games at the least, they put up less than 50 shots.
All right. Here's where I'm. Also, you and I were messaging back and forth. I wonder if Arizona goes small. I do not go small in this game. I 1,000% go big. I want to beat them up. I have Umar Ballo, leader of men, Keyshawn Johnson. I have them in there as much as possible. Listen, if you shoot Umar Ballo out of the game, I get it. But I want to beat them up again. When this is a small team. This is 6'7", 6'6", 6'8" type front courts and all 210 pounds, et cetera, et cetera. Umar Ballo should eat in this game. Now, again, I understand you got to move on the fly if things change and they're just raining threes left and right. But Scheer, I'm going into this game wanting to play big.
Oh, yeah. What I meant was, I think Dayton's offensive strategy is going to be to involve Umar Ballo in every ball screen possible.
As they should.
And get switches and homes and get him jumpers and things like that. And so I'm wondering if eventually if that becomes an issue, do you put Keyshawn on Holmes and ride with Pella at the 4? Because Dayton's small. You could easily do that. Keyshawn's giving up a little bit of height there, but, Pella can guard Santos and other guys. I mean, they match up fine there, and you're taking away that screen action. That's the one thing I would keep an eye on. If I'm Dayton, I have to get Umar Ballo out of that game.
Yeah, because you just don't have anybody that can defend him. I mean, there's nobody on the roster that can defend him. Now, one player that I do not like in Dayton, and you were actually right about this as well. And generally, if we agree on something, it's either woefully off or it's right. There's no middle ground.
Correct.
All right. Now, Kobe Brea. I do not like this guy. This worries me a lot. He shoots 6 threes a game. He makes 50% of them. I do not. We cannot do the thing where we just hope players start missing. That is what I'm worried about.
Yes, Kobe Bryant has to be guarded from 3. He is a non-factor from 2. Non-factor. If he wants to take it to the basket, awesome. Love to see you do that. He will come in. He will shoot threes. He will shoot threes at a high level. He has games this season where he has 20 points on 6 threes, and he has games this season where he has 8 points because the threes aren't going in. Whoever gets that defensive assignment, it should be Pella.
Right.
Pella's got to be all over him. He really does. And so that is one of the guys that makes me nervous. Holmes doesn't actually make me as nervous.
You think Holmes sucks? Make the case.
I don't think he sucks. I think that Arizona has faced a lot of guys like him. I think that, when we look at teams that Arizona has faced with stretch bigs, a lot of it works because they have other guys that can rebound the basketball, right? Like Stanford's huge, right? Reynaud has killed Arizona, but Stanford's humongous. Oregon State is really big. USC is big. Dayton's not big. And so if Holmes is out there shooting threes, in a way, you kind of live with it because you know that they're not getting the rebound. And I also think we're making Holmes to be some prolific three-point shooter. He takes 2 a game.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about his threes. If I almost said Khalid Holmes, sounds like a boxer. If Deron Holmes makes threes and he shoots you out of the game, then you know what? Go with it. I'm totally cool with that. But also with Dayton, though, the other thing though to keep an eye on as well, they're obviously not going to be able to press Arizona. If you want to press Arizona, then good luck. Then good luck with that one. Cody James Martin said, well, what if they press Arizona? I hope they press Arizona.
I was talking to someone that you would know that helps announce Arizona games and all that. And I said, we saw a press. They pressed Nevada. Nevada literally, they look like Arizona against Princeton last year.
Right.
Not one guard on that team wanted the basketball. They were scared. If you press Arizona, you lose. That's it. You've lost.
You're going to lose that game, and you're going to lose that game very quickly. So again, yes. I hope they do. I hope they do press, but I do want to go. I do want to go big. Also, let's get back to Caleb Love here for a minute. Caleb Love was much better in the second half, but I need Caleb Love to get going. I need Caleb Love to, and I know this is probably not going to happen, but this is the exact type of game. Start getting to the bucket. Start forcing, because again, he's acting a lot of times. I think he acts like somebody like Kobe Bryant, where it's like, I can only shoot threes. No, dude, get to the basket. You got a small team in front of you. You don't have shot blockers. Holmes a little bit on the weak side. Get to the basket. I want to see him attack, and then he can start shooting the threes.
I almost wonder if something's wrong because he's not taking it to the rim at all. And He had success early, and he made the layup, and you're like, okay, he's going to have 30. And then he shot 12 threes. And, to be fair, that's what Long Beach State wanted him to do. Dayton won't be like that as much. He's got to take it to the basket. He just has to. I feel better after that second half yesterday. He started to click a little bit and kind of said to himself, okay, maybe this is a step forward. But Arizona needs him. Like, this is a game where possessions are going to be so limited. Like, it's a completely different style of ball game. And you have to be efficient to beat Dayton. And so they're going to need him, whether it's from 3-2, getting fouled. They need him to play well to win this game.
Yes, Arizona desperately needs him to. And the thing about it, too, that I thought was a little bit, I do love the rebounding. I love that he got 11 rebounds. Love that he got the 5 assists. He's an underrated passer for people out there that don't quite appreciate the passing. But again, this is a game I'd like to see him get going because, God willing, Arizona advances. You're going to need him to have a dominant Caleb Love game at some point. I think this is the type of team, this is the type of game to get this one flowing, Joson Scheer.
Yeah, 100%. This is a good game for him to step up. And again, like Dayton does not want to be in a high-scoring game whatsoever. If Caleb Love gets it going and Arizona's cooking offensively early, Dayton's probably in some trouble.
Are you back in the A, or are you predicting an Arizona victory?
I think it'll be a close game. I do. I don't think Arizona's – I actually agree with you. I think 9 points is a lot of points. I just think 9 points is a lot of points at this point in the tournament, right?
I said 4. What say you, Joson Scheer?
Yeah, I think I predicted 6 last night. I got to go back and listen to my score, but yeah.
I don't care what it is. They can win by half a point as long as they win. Because now, listen, I didn't want to win by a half a point against Long Beach State. That, to me, would have been a real problem. But now I'm at the stage, every game, win by half a point, totally cool with it.
And I wonder, like, I feel like there's kind of a pressure lifted off their shoulders, right? Like, okay, we won the first game. Now let's just go play Arizona basketball. That is very real. The players denied it, but Tommy straight up said it is very real. That first, you feel it. Like you felt it yesterday when I was watching Kansas versus Sanford. All of a sudden in Kansas, no one wants to shoot, right? Everyone's scared to make a mistake. I think that kind of goes away a little bit in the next game.
Right. Now, there's a guy on your board that I think is kind of a putz, but he made a really good point on one of his threads. The Pac-12 is this to me. It's the Pac-12. He really hit the ball out of the park. The Pac-12 to me is this. I don't give him any credit because he was pretending to be a facial recognition expert. So you get.
Oh, that was good. I like that.
That was great. He was analyzing Kylan Boswell.
I'm listening to you, Mike. I'm getting up real quick. I'm listening.
All right, yeah, go ahead. But anyways, the thing that I was here's where I'm at with the Pac-12, and this kind of plays into Arizona. The Pac-12 always sucks in the out of conference because you've got a bunch of coaches, first of all, that don't care about the out of conference, or just coaches in general that just don't care. But what happens is the talent generally gets pretty good by the end of the year, and that's why these teams generally advance. I'm not surprised that any of those teams won yesterday, Scheer, at all.
No, I'm not surprised at all. We as soon as Oregon got their bracket, we were like, oh, they're going to kill South Carolina.
And they did.
South Carolina was a fraud. I mean, they've been a fraud all year.
Is that the most fake good team in the tournament?
Yes. I would have loved to face South Carolina. Like, it's to me, they're an 8, 9, 10 quality. Like, they're just not very good. Colorado being Boise, that's not a big surprise. Washington State being Drake. Now you kind of see, Washington State has Iowa State. Arizona has Dayton. Colorado faces.
Well, yeah, you got to keep winning. But I think a couple of these teams are going to make the second weekend, Scheer.
I would agree with you. Yes.
Are you going Oregon or are you going Creighton?
I think Creighton's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
what I asked you.
I'm picking Creighton. I think Colorado could beat Florida.
Okay.
Creighton's
all right.
Good, I think the issue with Creighton is I love Dante, but this Kalkbrenner is at least capable of guarding him a little bit. And so you need Dante. Dante can't have an average game for Oregon to win at this point.
All right, but here's the deal, though, Scheer. If you wanted to bet on if you wanted to look at stuff on Prize Picks, here's the deal with Prize Picks, my friends. Football season may be over, but the action on the floor is heating up. Whether it's the tournament season or a fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage in high-stakes moments this year. Get in on the excitement of Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. And again, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries on Prize Picks, America's #1 sportsbook, or America's #1 fantasy sports app. And again, go to prizepicks.com/PHNX and use code PHNX for a first deposit match up to $1,000. Check it out. Okay, now back to Arizona. Here's where I'm at, though, with Wildcats. I'm also a little bit to the point where I'm getting worried about matchups. I should start getting worried about matchups later, because here's the end of the day. Rawl Mom, one of my favorite people in the entire world, she said, I'm over matchups. She said, either you're a leader, you're not. If you lose to Dayton, then it is what it is. Honestly, that was a really good point.
Yeah. It's tough because at the end of the day, the argument is like, look, if you can't beat Dayton, you're not good enough to win the national title anyway, right?
Right.
But there is something to the matchups because, like we both said, you'd rather face Nevada than Dayton. Dayton's going to slow it down as much as they possibly can and walk the ball up court and all that. So matchups is a thing, but also what she said is also a great point that if you can't win in the second round, you weren't good enough to win the title anyway, pretty much.
Yeah, and again, we're already looking at that. I do have a couple surprise picks for you. I think that Michigan State is going to beat North Carolina. That line to me screams that. And not only that, I said it from the beginning. I hate that matchup in the second round if I'm North Carolina. Don't like it at all.
It is very difficult to prepare for Tom Izzo on basically a day.
Right.
It just is. That he's one of the best coaches of all time for a reason. There's a reason why Michigan State barely makes it in the tournament, but nobody wants to face them.
Right.
And that's because of Izzo. And no offense to Hubert Davis, but he is not Tom Izzo.
Oh, and let's be honest, too. Michigan State underachieved this year. What's wild about watching that team is I remember watching them against Arizona and a couple other times this year. They got a lot of talent. I mean, this isn't one of those teams where it's like an Iowa squad that he's like dragging and kicking into the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of skill on there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, they've got dudes. Like they absolutely have dudes. And Ken Baum has it as a 3-point game. Right. And so you take a look at, I mean, Walker's awesome. AJ Hoggard's pretty good. If Jaden Akins gets going like he did last game, like they're legitimately good. And Michigan State is big enough at positions to contain or at least slow down Armando Bacot. So that game to me is very interesting.
All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of recruiting here, and then we will circle back. Joson Sanon. Obviously,
I got it, by the way. I talked to him, and he made fun of me. Joson Sanon.
Okay, now let's start it over. Joson Sanon. This is going to be an interesting thing to follow. Obviously, he's going to probably reclassify to the class of 2024. Uber athletic kid. He's also getting some good reviews. Jamari Phillips put out a nice tweet about excited that he's joining the squad. 2024 and 2025. You look at 2024 right now, you've got Jamari Phillips. We're going to assume that Sanon is in there as well. Carter Bryant, and then Emmanuel Stephen, probably at a grad transfer or something. I would imagine that that part of the class is probably done. And then you start looking ahead a little bit to 2025. This was a nice little domino to fall, even though he's probably only a one-year player, Scheer.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, and we've said this before. Anytime you can add a pure score in college basketball, you go and do it. He can score. He'll be able to score with the best of them as a freshman. Very, very talented kid. I like the pickup a lot. It allows you for versatility. He could play a few different positions. Arizona legitimately beat out some of the best schools in the country for him. He's a guy that the plan is for him to come in and contribute right away.
All right, yeah, and I would imagine he'll probably be a one and done. I mean, he looks like that. Now, as far as 2025 goes, how does this impact 2025, Jason Scheer?
I don't think I always say I don't think one class ever impacts the other, especially in college basketball for sure, because there's ways for it to not impact, right? Like, so, and what I'm saying is, let's say he is one and done. Well, it doesn't impact anybody, right? And so you always figure guys are going to leave and all that. You still want to land wings. Will Riley's still a priority. Hudson Greer's still a priority. If anything, it makes it easier to land some of those guys because now Sanon is probably going to be in the 24 class.
I think this also probably means, and this is just a guess, that Pella Larson is probably for sure gone. I would have a hard time believing that Pella Larson's coming back, and they are urging him to reclassify.
Yeah, you got to think Pella's gone.
I mean, that's at least where I would go. That's called deductive reasoning right there.
You're so smart.
Yeah, I know I'm very smart at times. Now, and then you got guys like Tunde as well. So this is a nice little move for Arizona. And also, let's be honest, this is the kind of kid that you need in the Big 12. This is the kind of kid that you're going to need. You're going to have some wings next year. You're obviously looking at KJ Lewis. You're looking at players like that. But bringing in a player like this that is an uber elite top 5, top 10 level player. Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the kid's awesome. Yeah, that's just it. And, look, nothing's guaranteed in recruiting, but I'm always taking scoring ability. I'm always trying to find a way to land one of those guys.
Yep. And again, does this put a little bit of the rest that Tommy Lloyd can't recruit? I mean,
that ended real quickly with Carter and Jamari anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, but
I believe I can't help you.
Yes, and this kid too, this kid could have gone absolutely anywhere he wanted. So Tommy Lloyd spiking the football in the face of the doubters. Did a good job there, Tommy Lloyd. All right, now with I had a couple people ask me about the point guard position for next year, and we're going to get back to this team, obviously. This is going to be a fascinating one for me because obviously you got Kylan Boswell, you got Jaden Bradley. Could be wrong, but I think it's hard to me to imagine both guys being on the squad next year. Because if you're Jaden Bradley, are you really coming back to come off the bench again?
We're going to find out. Yeah. I mean, look, it all depends on what Kylan Boswell does. Nothing would surprise me with Boswell. If Boswell scored 20 last game and scores 25 against Dayton and decides to declare, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If he transfers, it wouldn't surprise. Like, it's going to be up to him, basically, and then you kind of figure out what's next.
Yeah.
Or you start both of them.
Right. Or you could go small. Exactly. Now, BCAT says a combo power forward center is needed. You're going to need to bring in an athlete. You're going to need to bring in, listen, Emmanuel Stevens.
You just bury Dylan Anderson right in front of
No.
That's the vibe I get.
This is just what my guess. Keep in mind, just my guess. I don't know that Henry's going to be here next year. Strictly a guess. And Emmanuel Steven, all the people that keep telling me that he's going to contribute next year, I don't see it. To me, this is freshman year Coloco. He's going to be very good. He is also limited at this point. I think that Arizona is going to try to probably get somebody, say a Keyshawn Johnson light. How about that?
Yeah, that would be my guess. But look, you also they're going to have to open up some scholarships.
Right.
Like they don't, you can't just bring in, especially saying and reclassify as like expected. You assume Pella's gone, you assume Keyshawn's gone, you assume
you don't assume Keyshawn's gone, he is gone.
Right. Caleb's gone, and you assume Umar's gone, right? They're gonna have to open up a scholarship, and whether that's Henry or whatever, and then if you want to bring in an athletic guy, you got to open up another one. So there's gonna be some movement here in the offseason just by nature of the sport and all that.
All right, now game time, Jason Scheer, game time. Let's say that you want to go watch Jason Scheer and you don't know how to get there. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed, and the Arizona Lottery. Scheer, you've won the Arizona Lottery multiple times. This is
yeah. Correct. People keep coming up to me and they're saying, "Are you lottery winner, Jason Scheer?" And I don't want that out, but yeah,
that is essentially the phrase that goes before any time somebody sees Jason Scheer. But just like Jason Scheer, the Arizona Lottery is not just about giving and playing games and winning prizes. It's also about giving back to the state and its communities. Visit azadventure.com for more information on how you can take an adventure for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. All right, Scheer. Now, let's get your then we got Kyle Dodd, who's going to be entering. Jason Scheer's friend, Kyle Dodd. We like this. Now with looking around the bracket, what else kind of surprised you a little bit by yesterday? Anything besides Kentucky? Oh, we can make fun of Calapari for a second. Is there a more underachieving coach in the history of college athletics than John Calipari?
I like Calipari.
You like Calipari, but
I mean, it's been bad, right? Like what? How long has it been now? 5 years.
The
problem is Calipari has an issue where his offense is antiquated. But I think, did you watch Jay Wright's rant last night, or not rant, but statement after the game?
No, what he said, I didn't see it.
Basically, and he nailed it. He basically said, "Look, like with the COVID year and NIL and stuff, you can't just rely on 18-year-old kids, and right. You can't. Other teams are starting 24-year-olds, and the pattern is these guys are big, grown men." And these freshmen are going to, he's like, look, every freshman on Kentucky is going to have a better NBA career than every single player on Oakland. But that doesn't matter. What matters is right now. And he's like, the guy that hit the threes, Gorky, whatever his name is 24 years old.
Right. Now,
so he's like, you have to change your strategy.
Louisville should hire John Calipari. He should look to get out of there, and Louisville should hire him.
100%.
By the way, there's rumors of Kevin O'Neal to Kentucky. I don't know if these have been verified? Boots on the ground, troops?
That was the whispers yesterday. There were quite a few whispers in Salt Lake City that KO is in line for that.
All right. Now, speaking of which, look who else. We got Kyle Dodd entering the equation. Hello, Kyle Dodd. Jacob Franklin. Hello, Kyle Dodd. How are you?
What's up, fellas? How are you? I'm still in Vegas.
Are you still having some drinks?
Yeah, I haven't left, man. I'm just holding on to this Pac-12 thing forever.
Well, let's talk about Arizona, Kyle Dodd, because you were admiring Arizona from afar. Did you get to watch Arizona yesterday?
I did, man, and I got to be honest. I thought early on, I was like, man, these guys are playing not to lose. Like, you missed 100 layups right. Early. Guys were fumbling balls, but I thought coming out of the half, you needed that, like that. You know, I always break it into the media timeouts. You know, first four minutes were important yesterday, and in the half, that's when you guys kind of just took over the game, and that's the team that I think everybody's scared of right there. The team that played in the second half.
Do you like Arizona to smoke Dayton? Jason Scheer is predicting a Dayton victory over Arizona. What say you, Kyle Dodd?
I have Arizona in my Final Four. I I joke because I said I do this every year because then I don't get disappointed either way. It either helps my bracket or I'm not that mad when you lose. But I think this is like the year, the path for you guys this year just seems like it's been like it seems like it's the easiest path you've had in a while. I think, and not that it's going to be easy by any means, but I just feel like it's set up pretty nicely and the matchups work out pretty nicely. I think if you can guard the three, right, you can definitely beat Dayton.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about ASU, not even necessarily making fun of them. And Scheer, tell me if I'm wrong here. Kyle Dodd has convinced me that Bobby Hurley is the best man for the ASU job. I believe that is a very difficult job and that Bobby Hurley embraces it. What say you guys? Scheer, do you agree with this?
I like Bobby Hurley. I don't know if he's the best man for the job, but I mean, that's a bold statement, but I like Bobby. I think that he needs more support from ASU. Or else, no matter who goes in there, that job is just going to be what it is. Unless they get the NIL straightened out and all that, you're going to have to make a perfect hire, and I don't know if ASU is capable of doing that.
Kyle Dodd?
Yeah, I mean, I'll repeat what I've always said. I think, Coach Hurley gets the most out of his guys. I think Jason hit it on the head. I mean, we're so far behind in the NIL game that, I joked with people last week at the Pac-12 that this last season that just passed, thank God it's over, may have been his best coaching job. Like, I don't think we should have won 14 games with that roster, in my opinion. I just think, I think he's got a nice recruiting class coming in. Obviously we'll see what we can do in the portal, but it comes down to NIL. I think if ASU can get behind that, we can maybe take some, steps forward, but, going to the Big 12, there's going to be no shortage of funds in the Big 12. So it's like someone said today on Twitter, it's so frustrating to watch Warren Washington and DJ Horn play in the NCAA tournament. I'm like, well, NIL, dude. I mean, both of those guys.
Not a total excuse, Kyle Dodd.
Well, on this
Duke
one,
Brennan, you're losing players to GCU.
Your boy Duke, cool, but Warren Washington, DJ Horn went. I'll give DJ Horn this. He went home to play his last year at home. That's different. But the big one for me is like Warren Washington and Devin Cambridge. Both say they're coming back. Both get pretty good deals for themselves at ASU, and then basically bounce because Texas Tech comes in and they both committed to coming back, like announced it, everything, and then bounced because they got 3 times the money. So it is about the money with those guys.
This is not true because Duke Brennan, by the way, we discovered Duke Brennan, Kyle Dodd. You did not know this. Scheer, you disagree. You can't be losing kids to GCU like a great like Duke Brennan.
Yeah, that's your boy, man. I'm a big Duke guy. I'm cool with Duke.
Scheer's a big Duke guy.
You got $300,000.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Duke got paid.
Duke deserves to get paid.
$300,000.
Here's my other problem with ASU. How do you letting all these 3-star kids out of the state that are good, or the low 4-star? You can't be losing kids to Dayton. How about that?
I feel you. I understand that, but again, this is a different time, man, for sure. It's not like when we were younger and we were, those were guys that you would hate to lose, like a Mike Bibby. Obviously, you'd love to keep local, but times have changed.
All right, now let's get back to Arizona Dayton. Let's get back to real teams. The first thing that I look at with Arizona, though, and again, I'm going to keep talking about this, and this keeps where Arizona has got. If Arizona loses, we're going to know why Arizona lost. If Arizona wins, we're going to know why Arizona won. My only thing is this: defend the 3, and I'm going to be totally cool with it. The one thing that Arizona has not done this year is defend the 3. Dayton shoots a lot of 3s. Scheer, I see you actually agreeing with me for once.
Yeah, I mean, You made a very rare good point last night. You said if Arizona wins this game, we know how it's going to play out, and if Arizona loses this game, we know how it played out. It's really that simple on this one.
Right, Kyle Dodd.
I 100% agree. I think you look at the losses this year; it's been a lot of the same. They haven't guarded the three-point line very well. Offensively. Obviously, always going to have firepower, but what a difference it is or it makes to have Kylan playing like he played yesterday, and
we got to give you credit. We got to give you a lot of credit. Here's what Kyle Dodd did. Kyle Dodd went up to Kylan Boswell and essentially blamed me for the struggles. This is true. And said that he's just keep staying with it. Kyle Dodd, U of A point guard whisperer.
Yeah, I just stay with it, man. I understand what's out there and all the stuff that's said about him, but I feel like he's a young kid that just trying to find his way. It's a different world. It's like playing for the Yankees in baseball. I mean, when you're playing at U of A, I can't imagine the pressure you feel. I tell people all the time, I remember when it really hit me how big hoops is down there. My boy Kyle Fogg, I was down there and I spent the week with him. We were working out in our Richard Jefferson Center or whatever, and we went to like Applebee's or something for lunch. And I mean, you couldn't go 2 minutes without somebody stopping by the table and like asking him for an autograph. Or I'm like, dude, you're like they were treating him like Kobe, and I was like, dang, it's different. And that's when it hit me. I was like, man, it is so crazy. I mean, even last week, just seeing the amount of fans that were in Vegas that didn't even get into the game, walking outside or walking over to the game. I came a little late the first day. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of U of A fans that weren't even in the game. And I'm just like, I mean, I admire it without admitting that I admire it.
Scheer, a lot of these people were here to see you, though. Let's be honest as well.
That is true.
Let's be honest, Scheer. I mean, I know you're a humble guy, but let's be honest.
It's not easy. I'm in this room, I'm not going out.
Yo, by the way, speaking of which, Dylan Anderson is he still not in Salt Lake?
Okay, so I got the details here. Originally, someone had told me that it was an NCAA thing. It is not. Dylan is home sick, and they couldn't bring him on the trip for obvious reasons. So if they advance and Dylan is better, he will be with Arizona next week.
All right. Now, let me ask
Luke,
you this.
Why you could just do what he does. Luke, you can stand at the end of the bench and go like this the whole game.
Oh, he's great on the end of the bench. We need to have a Dylan Cam.
I looked for that. I said, who's going to be that guy? And Brigger's energy was a little more than normal yesterday.
Yeah, Emoy, as good as he is, Emoy can't be this, the 7 foot that is Dylan Anderson. Hey, Kyle Dodd, you've watched Dylan Anderson for a long time. Scheer and I have had long debates about Dylan Anderson. Many, many debates about Dylan Anderson. He's not a Dylan Anderson guy. I'm a Dylan Anderson guy. What does Kyle Dodd, somebody that has trained the youth in Phoenix, think about Dylan Anderson?
Yeah, I didn't spend I kind of got out of the training game right before he came around or started like popping on the scene, but I definitely have seen him a decent amount. And yeah, I mean, I think he has a chance still. I really do. I think obviously he's got to get better, laterally and get stronger. And I think he has tools, he has pieces, but it's a different animal when you're being judged by the talent that year in and year out that U of A has.
Scheer, Dylan Anderson, right now, will Dylan Anderson start more than 20 games in his U of A career?
No.
You have a bet, my friend. You have a bet. All right.
It'll be another bet that I win. That Conrad bet is clearly going to me.
Well, Conrad Martinez started ASU. Actually, no, Collins is not bad. Conrad Martinez, he'd play the ASU.
He would play.
Yeah,
for sure.
Would you take Philly B, Kyle Dodd?
I see you talk about Philly B all the time. I could sit here and tell you I have no idea who that kid is. I mean, I know who he is.
He's an enigma.
There's some players that just don't. You kind of watch it's like the Chris Dunn effect, where you hear about players that are really good, but you don't quite see him. Philly B's that dude, though. He's a legend here, and he is going to do that. Conrad may start on senior day. That's messed up, Dirty Dancer. All right, now out in the air, North Carolina, Michigan State. Obviously, that's going to be something that we're keeping a lot of eye on. Kyle Dodd, what do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think basketball-wise, I would lean towards Carolina, but I just don't pick against Izzo in March. What do they say? January, February, Izzo, April. That's
right.
He's kind of the guy. Just somehow finds a way. And that team that they rolled out yesterday, I think that's the team that weren't they like preseason number 4 or something? I mean, I think that was the team that everybody expected them to be, and they looked pretty good yesterday.
All right, Cassandra Johnson looks like the big sister of Keyshawn Johnson has a Wildcat national anthem, a Wildcat anthem Yeah, where you got to put the link in there as to where they can go find it. Okay, there you go. Awesome. Wildcats. Scheer, look this up right now as we're talking.
What am I looking at?
Cassandra Johnson.
Well, there's
Wildcats.
no link, though. I need a link.
Yeah, we need a link. Well, I don't know. It said just YouTube it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. While you're doing that, no, maybe I don't think it's spam. All right, but let me one other thing. Somburros. Kyle Dodd, you live up in Phoenix. Is correct?
This is correct.
All right. Have you ever been to Somburros?
There's this new Somburros right down the street from my house. Yes.
Yes. Nice. 20% off your order of up to $100 when you use code PHNX at checkout and for the whole month of March, available in restaurant, drive-thru, and when you order online, not available on third-party delivery. Visit Somburros.com. Somburros is offering PHNX listeners 20% off their orders for the entire month of March. All right, now, so let's get a prediction here, guys. We got to get a prediction, and then I want to preview a little bit about possibly Baylor, New Mexico, which I believe is going to happen with Arizona. Scheer, Dodd, give me predictions for tomorrow.
I think Arizona wins by 6, like 77-71. It's going to be a tight game, but I just think Arizona is the better team.
Kyle Dodd?
Yeah, I think you guys actually win pretty handily tomorrow. Like, I think 15, 16-point game. I think you control the game start to finish, in my opinion.
I like it. All right. I like it. All right. I am picking Arizona to win as well. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I hope I'm wrong. And then, all right, let's say Arizona plays Baylor. That, to me, I'm fine with that matchup because then you would obviously be in the Sweet 16. At that point, it's all systems go. You're going to be playing a good team somewhere along the line. Baylor's not a bad team. I'll still take Arizona in that game, or I'll take New Mexico. Because I believe New Mexico is going to get there. I'm a big fan of the Lobos.
Clemson's going to beat New Mexico, Mike.
Is that game already started?
No, but I'm just letting you know.
Oh, all right.
Because what happens is everyone picks the lower. New Mexico's like that hot team. Yeah. And then Clemson's like, yeah, we've been pretty good all year. Clemson will beat New Mexico.
Are you going with Jalen House, Kyle Dodd?
I mean, I would love to. I always seems like those teams that make these like historic runs to earn a tournament berth kind of fall short. Although Oregon and NC State did deliver yesterday. But yeah, man, I kind of feel Scheer on this one. I think Clemson's going to get him, but I would love to see. I think the country deserves to see more Jalen House. It's just energy all the time.
Why did he leave?
Playing time.
He clearly is good enough to play at ASU.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was the one. I'll be honest. I mean, the one guy that's left over the last several years that I was like, man, I just wish that he would have, made it for a year. And there's no hard feelings. I mean, Eddie's my boy. Talk to him all the time, and he's like, man, honestly, he's like, I'd send my other kids to ASU. I don't care. He's like, he's cool with Bobby. It was nothing like that. It was just kind of a numbers game at that time. He wanted more of a role, and yeah, I mean, I can ride with anybody that plays that hard every time they step on the floor. I think he's my type of guy. He just plays his tail off, and I love watching him.
Scheer, where does Arizona stand with the House brothers?
I mean, they don't have offers or anything. It's just kind of guys they're watching.
All right. Keep it on. All right, now. Also, one other thing before we sign off. OGs, again, check out all kinds of good stuff. It's Gummy Madness season. Follow as 8 competing dispensaries put gummy versus gummy against each other each week in a bracket to determine a champion. To learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com. Must be 21 plus to enjoy responsibly. All right, before we sign off, we have a video to show. Jacob Franklin, pull up the video, my friend. This was great. Look at me. All right, take you through the process. I just pat Jason Scheer on the back. They've never met before. There I am giving that Kyle Dog love. And then look at this. Here we got to work on your handshake. That's a really weak handshake. But overall, though, I made people that have never met each other. Check it out. That's what I do. One more time, Jacob Franklin. Let's see this again. All right, here I am. I'm there, patting Scheer on the back, getting him motivated. All right.
Mike, are you watching this Big Ten game right now?
What's the score?
FAU is on a 13-2 run. Another Big Ten team is blowing it.
No.
Kyle Dodd, you don't buy the Big Ten crap, correct?
I don't, but I do have the rest of my family has FAU, and I have Northwestern.
No.
And so I
can't be happy.
When I came in here, they were up 9. So this is probably on you, Luke. Actually, I have a question for you. I know you love Circle K, right?
I back the K.
Yeah. So have you tried their Western omelet egg wrap?
No, but it sounds scrumptious. Is it good?
I stopped quickly this morning on a way to run an errand, and I was just going to grab like a bottle of water, and I looked, and then I'm like, am I really going to buy a breakfast sandwich here? And it was
picture next time.
Freaking phenomenal, man. So I thought of you.
See, Circle K is. We had somebody that commented on here, and we appreciate it. Where he said he only has there's no Circle K's in his area, but he's a member of the inner circle because just of the show. We appreciate that. Circle K, good people, just like Kyle Dodd. All right, we're going to sign off. Scheer's on assignment. Kyle Dodd, you stay out of trouble up there in Phoenix.
Yeah, man, I'm on assignment to drink some, have some drinks today and watch a lot of hoops. So
you deserve it.
All right. Good luck, guys.
All right. For Kyle Dodd, Joson Scheer, I am merely Mike Luke. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.